The unyielding flame. In the bustling heart of Brooklyn, New York, there lived a tenacious young black lawyer named Maya Carter. Maya, a former public defender turned civil rights advocate, had spent years fighting for justice in a city where the line between right and wrong could often be a blurry one. Her reputation was solid, not just for her legal skills, but for her unwavering belief that every person, regardless of race or status, deserved fair treatment. One cold autumn day, Maya received an urgent phone call from a woman named Evelyn Harris, an elderly black woman living in a run-down apartment building in the heart of the city. Evelyn had been a tenant in the building for over 40 years, but her landlord, a wealthy and unscrupulous man named Charles Wentworth, had begun to make her life miserable. Rent hikes, sudden eviction threats, and refusal to fix necessary repairs, everything had started to pile on. But the final straw came when Evelyn, after months of asking, was told that her heating would be shut off for the winter. Maya knew what she had to do. She'd seen this play out far too many times in the neighborhoods she fought to protect landlords who thought they could push tenants, especially tenants of color, around without consequence. But this time, Maya was going to make sure Wentworth felt the heat, in more ways than one. She met Evelyn at the apartment, where the chilly air made the place feel more like a freezer than a home. The old woman sat wrapped in a blanket, her thin frame hunched against the cold. The apartment was decaying, with cracks in the walls and a constant draft that made it unbearable during the winter. Maya's heart sank as she took in the conditions, but her resolve hardened. She wasn't going to let Wentworth get away with this. Maya immediately started compiling the evidence. Photos of the broken heating system, the leaky pipes, the unaddressed mold, everything she could use to expose Wentworth's negligence. But Maya knew the fight wouldn't be easy. Wentworth was powerful, with connections in high places and a history of crushing anyone who dared challenge him. The next morning, Maya filed a lawsuit against Wentworth for neglecting his duty as a landlord, violating tenant rights, and attempting to force an elderly woman from her home. She didn't stop there. Maya began organizing a protest, rallying neighbors, and speaking to the media. The public outcry was swift, and soon, the story of Evelyn's plight was being shared across social media platforms. Wentworth didn't take kindly to the pressure. He dismissed Maya's legal claims as frivolous and accused her of stirring up trouble. He also took aim at her race, claiming she was just another radical trying to use the law to create chaos. Maya's phone was flooded with threats. Strangers called her office using racial slurs, hoping to intimidate her into backing down. But Maya was undeterred. She knew she was fighting not just for Evelyn, but for every person who had been bullied by landlords and overlooked by the system. She stood firm, knowing that as a black lawyer, her fight was much more than a case, it was a statement. It was about showing the world that black people, especially black women, could be as fierce, as powerful, and as determined as anyone else. Then things took an unexpected turn. One day, as Maya was preparing for a court hearing, she received an anonymous tip from a source inside Wentworth's office. The source had uncovered a trail of fraudulent building inspections, doctored documents, and illegal eviction schemes targeting minority tenants. Maya's heart raced. This wasn't just about an old woman's broken heater anymore. This was bigger. Wentworth's empire was built on exploitation, and Maya had the chance to tear it down. With this new evidence, Maya and her team prepared a devastating new round of legal action. The case went to trial, and what followed was nothing short of a courtroom battle for the ages. Wentworth's arrogant smirk slowly faded as Maya's team revealed the depth of his corrupt dealings. The more they uncovered, the more the public turned against him. Media outlets began airing his dirty laundry, and city officials who had once turned a blind eye to his wealth and influence began to backpedal. In the final moments of the trial, as the jury deliberated, Wentworth's fade cracked. His lawyers, unable to counter the overwhelming evidence, advised him to settle. But Maya, standing at the front of the courtroom, knew this wasn't about money. It was about justice. The judge ruled in Maya's favor, ordering Wentworth to pay for all repairs, compensate Evelyn for damages, and face charges for his fraudulent actions. The case set a legal precedent, and Maya became a symbol of resilience and justice for tenants across the city. Charles Wentworth, once a powerful man in his corner of New York, was left with nothing. His properties were seized, his reputation shattered, and his influence in the city erased. The landlord was frozen in his own hubris, powerless against the fight of a woman who refused to back down. Maya stood tall, her heart swelling with pride, not for the victory, but for the lesson she had imparted. That no matter how cold the world can be, there's always the warmth of justice for those brave enough to stand up for it.